Hi, class. Here I am on page 70, starting with Kate, and she says, "Is that all?" And Annie says, "That's all, Captain." Keller turns his head, and Kate's request is quiet but firm. "With your permission." "Why must she depend on you for the food she eats?" "I want control of it." "Why?" "It's a way to reach her." Keller stares. "You intend to starve her into letting you touch her?" "She won't starve. She'll learn." "All is fair in love and war, Captain Keller. You never cut supplies?" "This is hardly a war." "Well, it's not love." "A siege is a siege." "Miss Sullivan, do you like the child?" And Annie says, straightening his eyes, "Do you?" There's a long pause. "You should have a servant here." Annie, amused, means smiling. "I'll have enough work without looking after a servant. But that boy Percy could sleep here, run errands." Kate, also amused. "We can let Percy sleep here, I think, Captain." Annie, "And some old furniture, all our own." "Captain, do you think that walnut bedstead in the barn would be too—" "I have not yet consented to Percy," Captain Keller says, "or to the house, or to the proposal, or to Miss Sullivan staying on when But he erupts in an irate surrender. "Very well, I consent to everything." He shakes the cigar at Annie. "For 2 weeks. I'll give you 2 weeks in this place, and it will be a miracle if you get the child to tolerate you." 2 weeks? Miss Annie, can you accomplish anything in 2 weeks? "Anything or not, 2 weeks. Then the child comes back to us. Make up your mind, Miss Sullivan, yes or no." She nods at him nervously. "I'll get her to tolerate me." Keller marches out, slams the door. Kate, on her feet, regards Annie, who is facing the door. "Kate, you can't think as little of love as you said." Annie glances questioningly. Or you wouldn't stay." "I didn't come here for love. I came for money." Kate shakes her head to this with a smile, and after a moment she extends her open hand, looks at it, but when she puts hers out, it is not to shake hands, it is to set her fist in Kate's palm. Kate, puzzled. A. It's the first letter of many. 26. Kate squeezes the fist hard and hastens off after Keller. Annie stands at the door, closes behind her. Her manner is apprehensive, that finally she slams her brow, holds it, sighs, and with her eyes closed, crosses herself for luck. The lights dim into a cool silhouette scene around her, the lamp paling out, and now in formal entrances, persons appear around Annie with furniture from the room. Percy comes the stage with a rocking chair and waits. Martha, from another direction, bears in a stool. Annie bears in a small table, and the other negro servant rolls in a bed part way from left, and Annie, opening her eyes to put her glasses back on, sees them. She turns around in the room once and goes into action, pointing out locations for each article. The servants place them and leave, and Annie then darts across, interchanging them. In the midst of this, while Percy and Martha reappear with a tray of food and a chair, respectively, James comes down from the house with Annie's suitcase and stands viewing the room and her quizzically. Annie halts abruptly under his eyes, embarrassed, then seizes the suitcase from his hand, explaining herself briefly. I always wanted to live in a dollhouse. She sets the suitcase out of the way and continues. Benny at left appears to position a rod with drapes for a doorway, and another servant at center pushes in a wheelbarrow loaded with a couple of boxes of Helen's toys and clothes. Annie helps lift them into the room, and the servant pushes the wheelchair off. In none of this is a heed taken of the imaginary walls of the garden house. The furniture is moved in from every side, and itself defines the walls. Annie now drags the box of toys into center, props up the doll conspicuously on the top. Conspicuously means that it's very obvious. With the people melted away, except for James, all is again still. The lights turn again without pause, rising warmer. Then James says, "You don't let go of things easily, do you? How will you win her hand now in this place?" Annie responds, "Do I know? I lost my temper, and here we are." James says, no touching, no teaching, of course. You are bigger. I'm not counting on force. I'm counting on her. The little imp is dying to know. Know what? Anything. And every crumb in God's creation I'll have to use the appetite too. She gives the room a final survey, straightens the bed, arranges the curtains. James, maybe she'll teach you. Of course. That she isn't, that there's such a thing as dullness of heart, acceptance, and letting go. Sooner or later we all give up, don't we? Giving up? You won't open her. Why can't you let her be? Have some pity on her for being what she is. If I'd ever once thought that, I'd be dead. You will be. Why trouble? Annie turns to glare at him. He is mocking. Or will you teach me? And with a bow, he drifts off. Now in the distance there comes a clopping of hooves, drawing near and nearer up the door, and they halt. Annie's wheels to face the door. When it opens this time, the Kellers, Kate in traveling bonnet, Keller also halted, as standing there with Helen between them. She is in a cloak. Kate gently cues her into the room. Helen comes in, groping, baffled but interested in the new surroundings. Annie evades her exploring hand, her gaze, not leaving the child. Does she know where she is? No. We rode her out into the country for 2 hours. For all she knows, she could be in another town. Helen stumbles over the box on the floor, and in it discovers her doll and other battered toys, is pleased, sits to them, then becomes puzzled, and suddenly very wary. Wary means worried. She scrambles up and back to her mother's thighs, but Annie steps in, and it is hers that Helen embraces. Helen recoils, gropes, and touches her cheek instantly. That's her sign for me. I know. Helen waits, then recommences her groping more urgently. Kate stands indecisive and takes an abrupt step toward her, but Annie's hand is the barrier. In 2 weeks. Miss Annie, please be good to her. These 2 weeks try to be very good to her. I will. Kate, turning then, hurries out. The Kellers cross back to the main house. Annie closes the door. Helen starts at the door ajar and rushes it. Annie holds her up. Helen kicks her, breaks free, and careens around the room like an imprisoned bird, coiling with furniture, groping wildly, repeatedly touching her cheek in a growing panic. When she has covered the room, she commences her weird screaming. Annie moves to confront her, but her touch sends Helen into a paroxysm of rage. She tears away, falls over her box of toys, flings the box, too, reels to her feet, rips curtains from the windows, bangs and kicks at the door, sweeps objects off the mantelpiece and shelf, a little tornado incarnate, all destruction until she confronts her doll in the act of hurling it, freezes. Then she clutches it to herself, in exhaustion, sinks sobbing to the floor. Annie stands contemplating her in some awe. 2 weeks. She shakes her head, not without a touch of disgusted bewilderment. What did I get into now? The lights have been dimmed throughout. The garden house is lit only by moonlight now, with Annie lost in the patches of dark. Kate, now hatless and coatless, enters the family room by the rear door, carrying a lamp. Keller, also hatless, wanders simultaneously around the back of the main house to where James has been waiting in the rising moonlight on the porch. I can't understand it. I had every intention of dismissing that girl, not setting her up like an empress. Yes. What's her secret, sir? Secret? That enables her to get anything she wants out of you. Why, when I can't. James says, Keller, she does not get anything she don't. Captain? He's afraid. He throws James away from him with contempt. Okay, so this is the end of page 75. You'll see me again soon. Bye.